wrestlers that have appeared in all elite wrestling that might be considered hardcore. Joey Janella, Darby Allen, Hangman Adam Page. But there is only one man who is truly considered dangerous. Nick fucking Gage.
Out of National Park, New Jersey. With an official weight of 207 pounds, representing that murder, death, kill gang. Representing for all his boys, locked in the fucking cell, Eastern Bloc. Represent the motherfucking hate club. Rest in peace, Big Nate Hatred, and rest in peace, his brother, Justice Payne. And you know what it is. It's MDK! The man, the king, the fucking God of this shit, Nick fucking Gage!
The man, the king, the God of this shit, Nick fucking Gage. And you know what I do. I represent the MDK gang, I represent Eastern Bloc, and I represent the Hate Club. These guys are coming in this building thinking they're running shit now. Well, guess what? The God of this shit is back. And Tremont's got the eye of the fucking tiger in his fucking eyes. So we're gonna go out there and we're gonna do battle. And I'm gonna carve somebody up. I'm gonna make him a bloody mess. I'm gonna feed him to Tremont. He's gonna make him a bloody mess. And then we're gonna put our foot on their chest and raise their hands up high and count 1, 2, 3 till we fucking die. It's MDK all fucking day.
I've been telling people on this channel to subscribe, and they won't.
Yes?
What can we do about that? Can you help me out? Maybe if you tell them to subscribe, they'll do
You
it.
threaten them. I'll threaten them
Yeah,
for you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. You don't have to do it till you're cursed.
Arquette made it clear that not only was he down to wrestle Nick, he was down to have a death match.
They said you want to wrestle Nick Gage, and I didn't know who Nick Gage was.
Are you sure he wants to do a death match? You know, does he know what it is? I said, listen, this is not fake. This is real. That glass is real. You're gonna bleed. Are you sure you want to do this?
I knew it was real glass. I knew it was dangerous. Don't cut me. I'm an actor, so don't cut me. I know I'll bleed. Don't cut me.
So I was like, all right, no problem, man. But you gotta know, man, this is what I do, okay? And I'm not gonna go soft on you. My other guys are nervous because it's David Arquette. He's an actor. I'm just thinking, like, I'm going to whoop his ass. Because in the beginning, it was going awesome. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, man. You know what I mean? Like, he's doing his thing. Like, he's feeling it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yes, this is going perfect. And then once I started bringing it a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, a little hard, you know, and shit like that. I think he panicked a little bit, especially with the tube to the head. But, you know, you gotta stay still, man. You know?
Right.
You know, that's all I can say that. You know, you gotta stay still and use your facials, man. That's it, you know, without saying too much. You know, he needed to stick to the script, you know what I mean? And he went off the script and shit like that, you know, it wasn't my fault. Listen, I'm very good at what I do in deathmatch wrestling, and I know how to do things to take care of you. It might look like you're fucking getting hurt and you're getting crushed, but really, like, I know how to do things that won't hurt you as bad as if I do it the real way, you know? Piece of a light tube, right? I smash it over its head. Oh! He's starting to bug out a little bit. Oh my God, no! And stabbed him in his neck. I was like, oh, did I just kill David Arquette? He did good, man, until he started being a crybaby. He ran in Luke Perry's car and got out of there, and I haven't talked to him since.
I was in over my head. I shouldn't have been there in the first place. But till you're in a death match, you don't know what a crazy death match is.
You know, he tried to spin and hit a double shoot on me when I'm crushing the glass on his head. Dude, I'm like, relax, calm down. I'm gonna crush it, and I'm gonna carve your fucking head with the glass. He spun and tried to shoot a double on me, and I had the glass in my hand where I was gonna, you know, I know what I'm doing, man, you know what I mean? So fucking, rewind this. This is another funny story. For me to go out and get the glass, I had to go to the back and get the light tubes. And when I went in the back to get the light tubes, I seen Chris Hero. Shout out to Chris Hero. I haven't seen him forever. So I was like, oh, yo, Chris Hero, what's up, my boy? In the middle of the match. And then I went back out and fucking grabbed the light tubes and fucking crushed them and shit. I thought that's a little funny part. Yeah, what it is, man, you got to listen to me, especially if you're new to this or something like that.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, one more thing, man. I just want to give him a shout out for, you know, I wish I could have talked to him after the match. He literally left right away, and I never spoke to him again. So I just want to give him a shout out for at least trying it. I wish he would have listened to me a little better. He was all over the place after that, but, you know, he gave it a try. He had no business being in there on that level, but I don't know why he wanted to do a death match, but, you know, shout out to David Arquette. At least gave it a little bit, gave it his all.
You should have seen what was supposed to come next. Well, I was supposed to go through a barbed wire wall. I was gonna, there's a bunch of stuff I was supposed to go through.
Try to explain to him, man, all this shit's real, man. This glass is real. This shit's real. I think he when I started turning it up a notch, I think he started like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. You know, is this guy taking liberties on me or whatever? But no, I'm just going in, man. You know, what am I supposed to do? Take it easy on the actor, and then I gotta wrestle freaking G-Rave or Alex Colon or Schlack or any of the awesome, crazy deathmatch guys. Yeah. And then go in on them. They gave me a gift, and they sent me a king-size mattress. So that's what I got out of.
Okay, were you okay with that?
Well, it's a little weird, you know, but you know, I still have not opened it to this day. It's in my house. Yeah,
you should probably open it.
Well, I like my bed right now, so I want to keep it in the thing. So when my bed goes, I have a new king-size mattress bed from David Arquette.
I mean, if this bed's good enough for David Arquette and his wife Christina, it's probably good enough for the King of the Death match.
Yes, yeah, and
You know, and it's a king size, man. So
Well,
it's huge.
king for the king. There you go.
You're damn fucking right.
Maybe he was in over his head. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with wrestling, I mean, especially with your type of match. Like, even when we worked, it's like that light tubes in your forehead, man. It's pretty hard not to just freak out, you know?
There's few guys that have like this true element of danger to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost killing David Arquette was really good for Nick Gage.
It might have gave him some aura points.
Yeah, I mean, like, whatever happened, it did at the end of the day kind of be like, this guy might kill you.
Right.
Which you don't have from a lot of modern wrestlers. I mean, New Jack was this kind of character where, you know, you'd really worry that guy might off you.
Throw you from the scaffolding or whatever he did to that big dude.
Jesus. Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah, he was scary.
Had that vibe. I mean, Nick Gage is a truly terrifying individual.
Mm-hmm.
And to that effect, he's coming back. So Cage of Death 22, right here in New Jersey. Mr. Hargrave's going to be there, and so will Nick Gage. It's Cage of Death, Kellen.
Yeah, it's like a deathmatch show. Have you ever been to one?
No.
Oh, Lord. You're in for a treat.
I'm literally actually terrified.
You're either going to love it or you're going to try to leave early. Those are the only...
I don't know if I'm allowed to leave early. Like, I think
you're going to wish you could leave early.
I think I might be like a special guest.
No, I think you're going to love it. You're going to love it.
I don't know where they're going to sit me. I don't know where I'm going to be. I might not make it through Cage of Death, quite honestly. I don't know. What if they'll know I'm there? And what if they're like, Mr. Hargrave, you know, come on out here and we're going to bust a light tube on your head, and then I just die.
Oh my gosh.
Because I would say yes. You know, I would say yes. I'd be like, yeah. Because I'm an idiot now. I just say yes to things. And I'd be like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then they bust a light tube on my head. And I don't know. He starts slicing and I try to stand up and struggle. And
then you're bleeding everywhere.
I'm bleeding everywhere. Because I'd be no different than David Arquette. I'd freak out. I'd be that same idiot trying to tell Nick Gage how to run his death match. Okay, I'll do this death match with you, but like, don't slice on my head or do any of the things that you do. Like, seriously, dude? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, David? That's the first problem, right? You're gonna go tell this guy how to do his job, and you're like David Arquette. You're like a celebrity stunt hire. And you're going to be like, all right, here's how it's going to go.
Listen, bub, let me tell you what's up.
Here's how it's going to go.
That doesn't work for me, brother. And then like Real American starts playing and David Arquette's.
Yeah, we can do this deathmatch thing. But here's how it's going to run. Nick Gage versus Jericho. To kind of set the scene behind this. This was part of a storyline between MJF and Jericho. The 5 labors of Jericho. I got really excited because I understood it wrong. I thought Jericho was going to have to do all these matches at the pay-per-view.
Oh, God.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Dude, I would have but didn't happen that way. And since it didn't happen that way, I was like, well, Jericho's going to win them all.
Right.
Like, we didn't know who the opponents were. I mean, we could kind of assume that the 4th one was Wardlow. Because, why wouldn't it be? It's his bodyguard. It's his bodyguard, right? But he would have to fight 4 opponents before he fought MJF. And he'd have to beat every opponent to get to fight MJF at the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
The first guy was Shawn Spears. We knew he was losing.
Right.
Okay. I think it was a good match. The second match, at the end of the Shawn Spears match, it was revealed that it would be Nick Gage. Which is a total...
curveball,
heart attack moment.
This is one thing I always love about being a storyteller is everyone thinks they know what's going to happen. And then when they think they know, in their minds, it manifests and become a thing. So if the story takes a left when they were expecting to go to right, they're like almost disappointed. And it's like, you're not telling the story. I am. And if it went the way that you could predict every time, well, then it wouldn't be much of a fun story, would it? And the original idea for Max was for me to go to the pinnacle to get to MJF. And then we kind of thought, what if we switched it up a bit? So we started with Sean Spears, which if you go back and look through the story, it all kind of tied in together, Spears was the one who lost the Stadium Stampede, and there was a lot of kind of little Spears seeds planted. And then I'm not sure if it was MJF or whoever said we should do Nick Gage. And I had just done the Dark Side of the Ring narration on Nick Gage. I never heard of him before in my life. Did the narration and got really fascinated by this guy's story and thought that would be really cool to do like a death match,
So for those that don't know, you got this death match wrestler, Nick Gage, and he's wrestling Jericho. I mean, they're having a death match. There's light tubes and all this kind. And Nick Gage's thing is kind of the pizza cutter. I think that's a Nick Gage specialty. And he's applying the pizza cutter to Jericho's head. And they literally cut to a Domino's commercial with the pizza cutter slicing the it's too much. And they got in trouble.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Domino's did not care for that. They did not get the joke, apparently. And AEW stance was, we didn't know it was going to come off that way. No, oops.
I'm carving Jericho up, making him a bloody mess, and here comes the Domino's pizza commercial. That was cool.
It'll live on in infamy as one of the greatest wrestling moments just ever. It's just so good. I love it so much.
Like many things with AEW, the controversy tends to overshadow the actual thing that happened in the ring.
Right.
Like I was probably watching like the direct feed, as I often do. And so I didn't even know this happened when I watched it.
It's a lot like the not the same effect, but like the same result as the whimper of the exploding death match thing that they had, where everybody only remembers that. People don't even remember the actual match that Nick Gage and Chris Jericho had. They just remember the pizza cutter spot. That's all. That's all they remember. I did work for IWA Mid-South and Ian Rotten, and so I've been around the deathmatch scene. I've never done it. You couldn't pay me enough to do it, but I've been around it. I've been on shows that the last match was a death match before. I've been to plenty of deathmatch like shows, and this is the first time I've ever seen something like that on TV before. Like, to me, if I wasn't a worker and had already seen it and had already been around it and been in IWA, this would have blown me away. But this, like, oh, hey, look, they're doing the shit that Ian Rotten does. That's cool. But I can't imagine how, like, the casual fan saw these, like, light tubes and just, like, the stabbing and the breaking of the light tube and the, like, coming at your head and shit. Like, that is not something that the everyday fan gets to see. Deathmatch wrestling is a really obscure corner of the wrestling world. And I don't think we'd ever seen anything like that on this kind of stage before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This was out of left field and absolutely deranged to be on like a mainstream wrestling show.
Mm-hmm.
You won't find this on WWE today.
No.
This is I mean, I love that AEW did this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is why I watch, because AEW is buck wild, and any random night Nick Gage could show up. You know what? They did this one right, too, because the Dynamite before is when Nick Gage came out.
Mm-hmm.
MJF was like, next week, we got Nick Gage. Why don't they do that anymore? Like, next week, we're going to burn a house down. They didn't do that.
Tune in and find out. It's a thin line you walk between surprise and advertise. So you really got to balance between what you want to be like a live surprise reaction pop and what you want to use as a draw to make people watch the next show and they know what they're getting.
It was a great move just to show Nick Gage and just have everyone's mind go wild. I mean, and I guess it wasn't supposed to be as intense as this. That blood on Nick Gage right here is not Nick Gage's blood. That's all Jericho. Nick Gage didn't bleed. Jericho
I
bled all over the
refreshed my
place.
memory a little bit before we went live, and I
Yeah.
watched a little bit of like the highlights again. And
Yeah.
God, Jericho bled from every part of his body that showed skin.
And I guess that was unintentional bleeding, so it's okay in Baltimore. If you would like to know more about Baltimore's hatred of intentional bleeding, make sure you check out the video we made about Jon Moxley on this channel. And if you would like to help support this channel, the best way to do that is to join our Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can keep videos like this coming. We have also been posting Patreon exclusive content that cannot be found anywhere else. So when you run out of videos on this channel, you can find even more for just $1. The other way you can help support us is to subscribe. And ring that bell a few times until it turns solid. Apparently, if you just click it once, it's not good enough. Why isn't it good enough? I don't know. It doesn't seem fair, does it? What can I say? YouTube can be pretty unreasonable when it comes to these things. And here's the sad truth. Even if you subscribe and ring the bell until it promises to alert you when new videos drop, it probably still won't. So what will you need to do if you like this channel and you want to see all the videos released here is to go and get a 4x6 postcard and write to YouTube directly. Tell them that you very much like the videos on the Mr. Hartgrave from Parts Unknown channel, and please, please, please notify me when new videos drop. Short of that, my best advice would be to simply come back once a week and click on the videos tab on the channel and see what I posted this week and watch all the videos you haven't seen. Trust me, they're all super good. Especially that 1-hour video on Will Ospreay that totally didn't break my brain and leave me a broken shell of the man I used to be. Recently, there was an event with Generation Pro Next Wrestling. This was the Jingle Brawl, and our man Kellen Craven was involved. Tell us about this. Can we watch this yet on High Spots?
Not quite. It'll be it'll be coming up here in the next few weeks or so. Yeah, they'll have it up probably by the end of the year. They'll have it up on High Spots.
That sounds exciting. And
yeah,
and you had your team. Who's on your team?
That is me, Nasty Nate Gnarly, Drew Dillinger, and my two trainers, Max Sled and Larry D, representing the company Gen Next.
You have like you have like a war going on here. These guys are invading.
Yeah. Well, so it's Jackie Thad, the gentleman with the circular glasses, on the other side. He's kind of got a faction going with the heavyweight Debo behind him. They have a few more members, but they chose to bring in some ringers here. The rest of these guys are not part of their faction.
Okay.
They tried to bring in the big guns to try to swing things in their favor.
Suicide is in Generation Next Pro Wrestling.
Yes. Yep. We.
You seem distraught by this, sir.
I'm trying to choose my words carefully. I did not intend on showing up that night. I had been gone from Gen Next since the match that you watched on your stream.
Okay.
Where the referee who has reffed every match I've ever had for that company once again sat idly by while I got screwed over. And I was sick of the company dunking on me all the time. I was sick of giving my blood and my sweat and my tears for this company. The entire company was built on my back. The very first show I main evented, and I did not miss a show for over 3 years. I was in tables, ladders, and chairs. If they needed a guy to bleed, if they needed a guy to go fall off a ladder, if they needed a guy to get the ever-loving crap beat out of him, I am who they called for everything. And I got nothing in return. I got tired of it and I walked away, and I didn't think I was ever going to go back. And basically the whole time I've been on your show, I've been away from professional wrestling. I have not had a match. I have not traveled. I have not competed for Gen Next. I've been gone. And they put together their team and they contacted who they wanted to be on Team Gen Next. And without messaging me, But maybe they did message me. I ignored them. I don't know. I was so far removed that I wasn't listening to anybody. They tagged me in a post and announced me as their possible 5th member. I'll give them credit. They did say that I haven't talked to them. They mentioned that they hadn't heard from me, but they were hopeful that if they build it, they will come, kind of thing. That if they stick me on the poster, if they just assume that I'll be there, the show was in my hometown, if the stage was set, they just hoped that I would show up. And I did. I showed up with my kendo stick, and I let out 3 months of frustration on anyone that I could get my hands on. And of course, by Suicide reigning as champion right now, my team won. I don't know what happened, because shortly after my team won, I made sure that everybody in that ring knew that I did not do it for them, that I did not do it for the company, and I left. And I took my vest off, and I let them know that they needed me, and I walked out the front door of the building before the show ended, after winning the match. And
so
apparently,
maybe you found out with the rest of us when this was announced on Facebook, if you weren't watching the event.
Correct. I left. I went straight from the ring with my gear on, kendo stick in hand, to my car, and I started it and I left. I did what I came to do, and apparently afterwards they cornered Jackie Thad. There was a title match on the line, and Jackie Thad said, "I will only defend it against Santa Claus," apparently. I don't know. I wasn't there. And out came Suicide dressed as Santa Claus. He tried to be a smart ass, and he got Suicide instead, and he lost his belt.
Yeah. And he had did he take that belt off of you?
Yes, Jackie Thad took the title off of me via cash-in. I had a match with Congo Kong. He was from TNA. He's big wrestler. He's been on basically like every non-WWE AEW stage that there is.
So now what's happening is you have a 3-way match coming up.
Yeah.
Between yourself, Jackie Thad, and Corey Calhoun. The winner of this will face Suicide.
Correct.
Now, can you explain Suicide? Because I'm sure, I think some people in my chat aren't familiar, but this is TNA, correct?
Yes. Suicide's a multi-time X Division champion.
Yeah.
Mainstay for TNA. He shows up all the time. He's basically been there as long as they had their video game, if you remember when that came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I knew about him, is he started off as a video game character. Is that correct?
Yes, and then the suit
became real.
Yep, they put it on somebody, and he's been a real wrestler, holding real championships and having real good matches for a long time.
And this is the same guy.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
Right. I mean, I guess there's no proof. It could be Santa Claus. I don't know.
It could be Santa Claus. Could be the Tooth Fairy. But does he wrestle the same? Can you tell? I mean, have you studied tape on this guy? I mean, are you thinking ahead? If you win this match, this is what's next, or are you focused on the match that's in front of you?
I am more worried about getting my hands on Jackie Thad and Corey Calhoun.
Okay.
I made the post that Janella saved me the trouble of tracking them down.
Yes.
And that's the most true thing that I've ever put on my Facebook, because these two are on my hit list. Like I came back for a reason, and the reason was to get a hold of those two individually.
All right.
One by one, I was going to systematically pick them apart, and Jackie Thad's whole little faction. But the powers at B have decided to hand me both of them at the same frickin' time. So,
okay,
my lucky day, I guess.
Yeah, it's all coming up, Kellen. I guess if your goal is revenge, are you digging 2 graves? Are you ready for this?
They can go in the same one. Jackie Thad came up exactly like me. They called me the gatekeeper of Gen Next, because anytime someone like Suicide or Congo Kong or Alex Zane or these crazy awesome people came in or wanted a shot, wanted to be a mainstay here at Gen Next, I was the one standing there. They had to beat me. If they wanted to make a name for themselves here, they had to go through me. And I was the gatekeeper of Gen Next. I spawned from their training system, and I was so worried about looking forward and protecting what was behind me that I didn't expect somebody else like Jackie Thad, who was also a trainee, also from our system, and he took me out from behind, used his cash-in briefcase, took my title. I didn't expect the threat that took me out to be internal, and I have so much unfinished business with him. It's insane.
Do you think if you were in his place, you would have been able to defend against this man? Suicide.
Yes. Yeah.
You wouldn't have let down Generation Next.
No, I never did.
Because is it correct that you're viewing this as a failure? That Jackie was unable to keep that belt in house.
You replaced me, or whatever you want to think that you did. Took me out, killed the Guardian, took out the guy on the post who was sitting there keeping people out, and one of the first people who walks up in here and tries to invade our company, you drop the ball and you drop the belt and you fail at one of your very first assignments. So it's just validation that I did what I did for 4 years, and I did it very well.
Yeah. To fucking Santa Claus.
to Santa side.
Yeah, he just really dropped the ball right there, even letting that happen.
I mean, in his defense, I did beat the dog piss out of him, so maybe
that helps. I guess you helped.
Corey was one of my best friends in the business.
Yeah.
And so to have him do what he did to me and go into that match and have him screw me over the way that he did in my very last match, and that's why I was just like, what am I doing? Like, this is one of my best friends in the business, and now, like, I'm losing everything. I'm losing friends, I'm losing matches, I'm losing opportunities, I'm losing titles. I started to come up on the losing end of everything, and that's part of why I stepped away, is because of Corey Calhoun and I don't want to call it heartbreak, because that sounds way too cheesy.
He's not your girlfriend, right?
Right, yeah, but the pain that he caused me.
Yeah.
I had a tag partner who walked away from the business. Everybody that I've ever cared about in this business has walked away from me, and add him to the list. And I'm so excited to get my hands on both of them at the same time. I can't tell you how happy I am to have both of them in one ring at the same time.
So it's not even about winning. You're here to punish Jackie and Corey.
I don't care if I win.
Don't care.
I'm not worried about the title. I'm not worried about anything. Maybe the title is the ultimate redemption. Maybe it's the crown I grab at the end. But right now, I don't have to beat Suicide. I don't need to win this and go on to Suicide. I'm here to hurt these two.
Well, there you go. Well, good luck to you, Kellen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sorry, I got a little serious there for a second.
No, absolutely. It's a hell of a thing. It's interesting, and it's all going to be available on highspots.com, the best $10 in the biz.
Yes, sir.
Check out highspots.com, Generation Next Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, they have the whole catalog of all of our matches as well. So everything moving forward and everything that we've ever had is on there.
Yeah, I'm excited about this, and it's pretty interesting development.
This is Thunder Rosa from the Graveyards of Tijuana, Mexico. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, The Parts Unknown, and Grave Diggers keep digging.
Scott Holiday, the voice of Combat Zone Wrestling, put out a video a couple days ago, 2 days ago as I'm recording this. The eight wrestling YouTubers that you should check out. And number 2 on that list is Mr. Hartgrave from Parts Unknown. Believe it or not.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So this is a big deal. Not that this isn't a very big YouTube channel, right? It's Plus 2 Wrestling is Scott's channel, and I'd encourage you to go subscribe to that and check it out. He's done a lot of interesting things on there. But this individual is the part of the commentary team for Combat Zone Wrestling. And so that is an organization that is rather sizable, well known.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about Combat Zone Wrestling, Kellen, as a professional yourself? Is this an organization you've had your eye on?
Oh yeah, I mean, as far as being like an indie worker, it is one of the top companies that you hope to get to one day. Like it is, like Rockstar, Revolver, all these like super awesome places. CZW is probably the. I'm struggling to think of anything better. Like MLW maybe, but even they're starting to do contracts now and being more like Ring of Honor ish in terms of locking people down. It's not really like an indie place anymore, but like. That is one of the top of the line places that people want to be that are in my area of work. Yeah, it's a hell of a company for sure.
Well, that's awesome. Maybe we can get you out there. That'd be
dope.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. And they got a big show coming up, Cage of Death, which we're going to talk about more in a second. But I do want to spend just another minute on this. So he puts me over in this video.
The editing and time that he puts into his videos to make sure that these unedited clips without commentary, all put together, tell the story that he's trying to put across is a skill that is greatly underrated. Like, that's the skill that the WWE does in their promo packages. Like, when you see a promo package and you get the story of what's led to this big premium live event match, there's no narrator telling you like, oh, then he grabbed the chair and hit him from behind and turned on his partner. No, the footage speaks for itself. And to be able to turn what is usually a 2-minute promo package into a half-hour, sometimes hour-long documentary is a lot of hard work. And this guy does it well.
It's like he's really watched my stuff. It wasn't a casual like, hey, this guy's all right. I had no idea he was watching my videos. But apparently he was watching them very closely because he took his time to explain that I'm just not, to the casual observer, if you were to put on one of my videos and maybe just skim through it and not really pay attention, you would think, oh, this man has just taken a bunch of random interview clips and put them together and he doesn't really have anything to say, or he is just reusing this content, recycling this content. And believe me, the self-conscious parts of myself, I feel this way sometimes. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I adding? But Scott realized, quite accurately, I feel, that there's actually a ton of effort being shown in these videos, and it's very true. I mean, I spend an insane amount of time putting these videos together, making sure I have the right moments from the right interviews, said the right way, that fit into a narrative structure. We're taking a very small clip from an interview and it becomes like a 30-minute video. Some of the spots, it'll be one line from a promo and then a line from an interview, and there's levels of craftsmanship that go into these videos. It ranges. Sometimes it's very involved. Sometimes I'm just letting a segment play out. Sometimes, I'm making the decision that this wrestler has said something that's important to what I'm trying to get across in the video, and maybe he's talking for 5 minutes, and it just needs to play out, and I let it happen, and I don't have to. Like, I think it should also be clear. I don't think he brought this up, but I will, just to let everybody know. I have a good voice. I can write. I can transcribe a video, and I can repeat it.
Right.
I can do that. And maybe to some, they would prefer that I do that or whatnot. But for me, that feels lazier, quite honestly. Yeah. To sit here, because that's honestly what I see a lot of this, where someone will take all the same material that I've taken and basically just transcribe it and then read it to you.
Right.
Which to me feels strange, and you're going to lose any kind of emotion from the source material when you do that.
Right.
And you're going to color it with your own perspective, your own inflections of how you want to say it. You're not going to get it right. Your own bias is going to creep in, as it so often does. A lot of people are very anti-AEW, so, it gets a little weird. People have favorite wrestlers. I try to make an effort of my stuff that I think the main drive behind, and maybe I'm explaining this to no one, but the main drive behind what I'm always trying, I think the main goal of every video is like, I want to like this wrestler more than I do. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm making the video. And by the end of the video, I think every single time I've done it, I've succeeded with myself in liking the wrestler more. And so I figure if I've done my job right and I put in the right things that I've found and told the right story, that you'll feel that same way after you watch the video. Mm-hmm. And that feels like something that is worth doing.
100%.
I like that. So that's kind of my goal, my narrative or whatnot. And I like how Scott got it.
Right.
He got that there's a lot of craft to what I'm doing because, man, it's weird. There's some big videos out there right now. I forget what the guy's channel's name. I don't want to put him over because his videos are crap. But
Jesus,
it's horrible. I mean, I should pull him up right now and we should dunk on him for like 2 hours, but I refrain. But he's got like a 250,000 views on it. And it's the same interviews that I'm using. Mm-hmm. That's what got my attention. I'm putting together this big video on the foundation of AEW and how it came about. We talked about that last week with the Young Bucks and Ring of Honor and all that. And he's got the same interview clips, but he's taken them all out of context and he's just kind of throwing them together like a blender and nothing. It's all incoherent and it's all negative slanted. The video's name is like, how Tony Khan lied and Cody Rhodes told the truth. There's some crap.
Jesus.
About and there's no point to it because the marketing isn't reflected in the content, which I've been guilty of from time to time, but it's bad. I mean, what I think I've looked at these videos before and talked about them before, and I think it becomes clear that you can have an AI do this.
Yeah,
you can feed a bunch of video clips and script into an AI and just have them poop out a video for you that will be viral. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what you're looking at. And I don't know. I thought about it. I mean, hell, it would be easier to have an AI write my videos and put them together for me and do my thumbnails and do my scripts and do my voiceover. Mm-hmm. But that's a shortcut.
Yeah.
And I feel like those kind of things will catch up to you. I think it's better to do the work. So that's Mr. Hargrave putting in the work.
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking about putting in the work, I don't know. That's a horrible segue. Doing the job. Cage of Death returns. They haven't done a Cage of Death since 2019. Did you know that?
I did not.
It's their biggest event. It's Combat Zone Wrestling's biggest event is Cage of Death, and it returns the 22nd Cage of Death. Haven't done one since 2019 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Mr. Hargrave will be there, and it's going to be awesome.
Hell yeah, that's so sick.
It's going to be. And next year, Kellen Craven will be there, right?
Oh, we'll see.
Would you participate in a Cage of Death, Kellen?
It depends on the opportunity and it depends on the money.
Would you get into a Cage of Death with Nick fucking Gage?
With Nick Gage, yes.
Shit.
He's a professional. He's a professional. I would rather get in the cage with Nick Gage than do something half as dangerous with some jackwagon who like fixes cars in the daytime. Like, I'd much rather be in there with a professional like Nick Gage.
Now, hold on. Nick Gage almost killed David Arquette.
That's because David Arquette didn't trust him and he freaked out. He just chilled out. Everything had been fine.
So you would have just relaxed and let him carve away on your head.
Well, I don't know how relaxed I would have been, but I definitely wouldn't have been trying to jump and get away from him.
Let it happen.
You gotta trust people.
You gotta trust Nick Gage.
Look at that face. He's a trustworthy feller.
You must possess a special skill set. Not everyone should be a professional wrestler, okay? I think maybe that's the problem with David Arquette. It takes a special kind of person to look at Nick Gage and go, you can trust this man. He's a professional.
Just let him hold your baby for a little bit. It's fine. Everything's fine.
I mean, it's not that I don't agree with you. Look, clearly Nick Gage is a professional. He's been doing this for a very long time. He knows what he's doing. He did not set out to kill David Arquette, and you're correct. But it is a bit counterintuitive to those who are not wrestlers.
Right.
This is the professional skill set that you need to have. And I think, well, a lot of it's trust, right?
Yes, yeah. If you don't have trust, then you have nothing. I've seen Nick Gage talk about that in an interview. He's like, if you don't have trust, then we have nothing. And in that moment, David Arquette stopped trusting me. And that's why they got in the situation they got into.
Show you, I'm gonna prove to you why all you up and comers coming up talking all that shit think you're gonna take my spot. You're gonna be the next ultra violent fucking king. You gotta show the people. You can't just talk. You gotta back that shit up. And that's what I've been doing for 20 fucking years. Slash the 7 years I've been in prison. But in prison, I'm just training like I've been on the streets. I gotta fight in there. I gotta fucking work out in there. It's the same thing as deathmatch wrestling. You fight, so who takes the most pain, and that's who fucking wins. You fight to fucking survive. Every day you're in that fucking prison, your life can come to an end. Same way you step in deathmatch wrestling, your life can come to an end. And I'm prime fucking example of that. I got stabbed, sliced 2 arteries, died on a helicopter. And what did I do? I came back 7 days later and I fucking fought. That's the difference between me and all the other motherfuckers out there. Don't come in my fucking locker room. Come up to me like you're my fucking friend, smile in my face, and shake my fucking hand. I don't follow the rules. I don't play ball, and I definitely don't follow the script. I do what I want, when I want. So you think you're just gonna bring me in? I'm gonna change who I am and what I do. You're out of your fucking mind. You see my record? You check my paperwork? I'm a convicted felon with violent tendencies. I'm gonna walk in that locker room. I'm not gonna shake no hands, give what's up to anybody. I'm gonna sit in a corner by myself. And when my music hits, I'm gonna go down to that ring. I'm gonna stand across with some guy named Walt. I don't see him as an opponent. I see him as my next victim. When I see that guy, I don't see him as a world-class athlete at all. I look at him as a world-class piece of shit. The difference between me and him, he fights for a sport. I fight to survive. I'm going out there with the intent of hurting this guy. Tearing this fucking building apart, making people feel very uncomfortable. I might get arrested, but I definitely will not get invited back to Style Bound. And I don't give a fuck. My sole purpose is to represent my gang, which is murder, death, kill. So I need everybody. It's in my fucking gang in Brooklyn, New York, and let's represent that fucking place. Look what the fuck I've been through. 20 years. All the motherfuckers I came into business with are retired, home, dead. I'm in here. I'm still here. I'll never fucking leave. I love this shit. And I'd rather die than fucking not do this shit.